What a wonderful statement, This Bhagavata is a book of devotion. And when you start reading it, any kind of a description with regard to anything whatsoever, it should end up in a devotional enhancement, sublimity in your mind. And all the words and phrases are suited for that. Particularly the last line, Priyasanga Nirvrita. Such expressions are very, very beautiful and lofty, immensely touching. Dridham pralabdhastrapaya chahapitaha. Now, what is their plight? On the one hand, they have been deceived by Krishna. And with no previous announcement, he appeared on the scene. And without waiting or having a discussion with them, he took away the dress along with his friends. And he is now on the Kadamba tree. And these girls, after a lot of persuasion, has left the water and they have gone to him. And he is asking them, take away your hands from your private parts, lift them, put them on your head, lie prostrate there. This is the only way to atone for whatever you have done. So they are saying, Tritham pralabdhaha trapayacha hapitaha. They have been put to shame and they have been abandoned. Prastobhitaha, mocked, ridiculed. Kridanavachakaridaha. Like ordinary people will do with the playthings, toys, in the same manner Krishna is playing with them. He is on the upper hand and they are on the lower. Whatever he says, they have to do now. In such a pitiable plight, Vastrani chaiva abhagritani adhapyamunta. Their dresses have been stolen. In such a miserable plight, pitiable plight, all these punishments, so to say, on the one hand, it's a very hard treatment, it's a cruel treatment, it's an intolerable treatment. In spite of it, ta nabhyasuyan priyasanga naruvrataha. But the underlying note was that none of them felt the least irritated or intolerant or unbearable about it. You know why? Priyasanga naruvrataha. All this treatment they are getting from their own beloved Krishna. So that belovedness was underscoring everything that he said and did. And they did not have any resentment, any kind of a disattunement towards whatever he said. Tana abhyasuyan priyasanga narvrataha. My dear viewers, this is the right attitude of devotion that you must foster. While living in this world, we may be differently treated by people. Sometimes we may be scorned by people. We may be disowned by even the nearest and the dearest ones. At least a few misfortunes may befall us. Calamities also may face us. All these are taking place within the grand scheme of nature. And the nature is lauded by the Supreme Lord. While being put to different plights and fates, you should still have the underscoring reliance on the Supreme Reality, the Indweller, the Antaratma. Never have the least resentment towards Him. Whatever happens in life, always feel a sense of confidence, gratefulness, and the feeling of protection that you get from the Lord. Something very, very important. See, the girls are described in this manner. Pralabdhaha trapayacha hapitaha. Deceived, mocked, put to shame, disowned, treated like a plaything, like a toy. In spite of all this, nabhyasuyan, they did not have a contrary or an adverse feeling about Krishna because priya sanga nirvrataha. Even in that plight, they were very happy that Krishna spoke to them so much and he has asked them to go near them, prostrate before him, and then he said, as a reward, I will give you your dress. I think really their wish was fulfilled. This is what they wanted. Now Krishna has come and with a lot of feeling and ownership, confidently and with authority, he has taken away the clothes. And he goes on talking to them. Do this, then I will give you. Now this kind of a freedom and intimacy which they were able to get, possibly left to themselves, they would not have had it. only because of Krishna. So they were very, very happy. They were feeling exceedingly delightful because of the closeness of their heart towards Lord Krishna. Paridhaya swavasamsi preshta sangama sajjitaha grihita chittano cheluhu tasmin lajjayite kshanaha. I wonder what is in your mind, my dear viewers. After all this has happened, if you were the Kumarikas, what would you have done? Oh, with a lot of trouble, with nuisance, etc., we have got our dress. Coolly closing our mouth and eyes, let us run away. This is what you will do, is it not? Just see what they do. Paridhaya swavasamsi, taking away the clothes from Krishna, they wore it on their body. Preshta sangama sajjitaha, they were now ready to be with Krishna for any length of time. So far they had a disadvantage, they were nude. Now they have got back their clothes, and Krishna himself brought them so close to, and they are very close to him now. Now they can claim anything from Krishna now. So they were not prepared to leave. Preshta sangama sajjitaha, they wanted to continue there with a lot of eagerness to have his fond company and association. Grihita chittano cheluhu, their mind absolutely robbed by Krishna, riveted to Krishna, wedded to Krishna. No cheluhu tasmin lajjayite kshanaha. With a lot of shame still, they were stealing glances. They were glimpsing him. Grihita chittano cheluhu tasmin lajjayite kshana, bashfully gazing at him. They were not prepared to leave that place. Actually, Katyayani was very pleased, and whatever they wanted, they have got. By taking their dress without their permission, by keeping himself at a distance, asking them come nude and demand the dress in the manner in which he wants, I think no weddedness ceremony is necessary. They were already wedded. This is what has happened. Then Krishna, finding that these girls were not prepared to go back, and they wanted his company and association, so he was saying, he was very intriguingly playful, and Krishna also had his definite stand and intention. They were wanting Krishna to be the husband, but whether Krishna would be the husband in the manner in which they want, all these are left to him. So he had his own intention. So he spoke to them in this manner. Namaya aveshita dhiyam kamah kamaya kalpade bharjita kvathita dhana prayo bijayaneshyade. I wonder whether you are listening to me properly and you are getting the message. On the one hand, apparently, this is something like a romantic scene. But mind you, it's a part of Sreemad Bhaagavatam. So is it really romantic or is it revealing? It is telling you how the mind of a person will become pure, how it will become innocent, and in utter innocence what all the human being is capable of doing will be tempted to do, and how everything ultimately drives us to a superhuman climax in one's own mind. So he says, Namaya aveshita dhiyam kamaha kamaya kalpade. My dear girls, I have accepted you. You have become mine. I have also become yours. Your vrata has been fulfilled, no doubt. But understand, Namaya aveshita dhiyam kamaha kamaya kalpade. A passionate desire fixed on me, it is never going to attain the fruit of passion. After all, I am the object of your passion. So far as you are concerned, your mind is passionate, but you are fixing it on me, and it is for me to direct it and make it what I want it to be. So all the passion and kama directed towards me or fixed on me will be like cereals and seeds which are either fried or boiled sufficiently. They will not be able to sprout. In the same manner, all the passions placed on me are never going to flourish in the manner in which you are thinking. Namayaveshita dhiyam kamah kamaya kalpade bharjita kvathita dhana prayo bijaya neshyade. Yata bala vrajam siddha mayema ramsyathakshapaha yaduddishya vratamidam cheruralya archanam sadihi. Yata bala vrajam siddha mayema ramsyathakshapaha. If any one of you is likely to think, what Krishna did is after all wrong, if you say, what will be my answer, Krishna's answer or others' answer? After all, the victims are these girls. They have no word of complaint. Even now, after all this, what they want is, they want to linger on in Krishna's company. So they themselves do not feel hurt. They feel elevated and their vrata is fulfilled. So what is the complaint here? This is the way Krishna has been behaving in front of everyone. Yata bala vrajam siddha mayema ramsyata kshapaha yaduddishya vratamidam cheruhu arya archanam sadihi. He addressed them as sadis, very loyal women, chaste women. For whatever purpose you have done your vrata, that is fulfilled now. I am very happy. Now for the time being, you go to your own respective houses. Yata balam vraja siddha mayema ramsyatha kshapaha. As for your bashful glances and your expectations that I should spend time with you, give you sufficient proximity, it will be in my mind. Don't worry. I shall select the time. I shall select the time and the date also, so that all of us can be together with me and we shall have a sportful period. For the time being, you go confidently. The very object of your austerity has been fulfilled. And the actual proximity that you are going to have will be in the autumn nights. So wait till then. Let the Sharatkala come and I shall play with you exclusively, he said. My dear viewers, I really don't know how to compliment all of you. You are all extremely fortunate. Many of you, or most of you, or maybe all of you, are not aware of the fact that how fortunate it is to listen to Sreemad Bhagavatam, a proper enunciation, especially one like this where we are discussing the philosophical, spiritual and highly ethical principles and messages contained in the text. Vedavyasa was a great author and composer. We have the Mahabharatam before us, the second and the major of the two epics we have. In Ramayana as well as Mahabharata, you will find the cultural history of the land, its people, right from the prehistoric times. Generally by history we mean the history of rulers and rulership. But actually a ruler will be there only when the ruled are there. It is the people that make history. There is nothing like a land. A land becomes a nation only when it is inhabited by people and the people are worthy of being noted by all. Very fortunately, very luckily, we have a great ancestry about which I believe most of you or even all of you are poorly, miserably ignorant. When we speak of Ramayana, we are not speaking of anything religious at all. Sage Valmiki, the author, has made it very, very clear that he was picturing before you the prince and the king Rama. The description he loves to give and he has given to Rama is a Maryada Purushottamaha. What does it mean? An excellent person, a model human in whom you will find all the virtues, all the restraints and all the dictates and demands of a righteous life. He has pictured him only as a human being. His enquiry before sage Narada, who happened to visit his hermitage, was, I would like you to tell me whether there is anybody good, noble, great, heroic and adventurous living right now in this world. Don't tell me that somebody was living. I don't want to hear that. Do you know of anybody who lives like this? Konvasmin sampratam loke gunavan yascha viryavan. This is how he began his enquiry. Narada had no doubt at all. He instantly said, there is one, the first son of King Dasharatha of Ayodhya. The prince is still growing. To the extent I know of him, I shall tell you. The remaining part you yourself find out by contemplation as well as by inquiry, he said. So it was very clear. He wanted to know of a living person, a human being. And that is what Rama was and is before us. Now whenever we read Ramayana, particularly our secular government, is almost obsessed with the idea of secularism. And they try to look at it and dispose it off and even join the sides of the critics to say it is a religious text. I would like to vociferously declare from as many corners and tops of buildings as I can that Ramayana is not a religious book. It is actually a historic book and a biography written by Valmiki. And as the biography progressed, the author himself became a part of the whole writing, the part of the whole history. Sita was abandoned by Rama when she was pregnant. And Rama was sensitive and cautious enough to ask Lakshmana to abandon her near the hermitage of Valmiki so that Valmiki would look after her. When a king abandons his queen, nobody on earth will be able to look after her. Rama very clearly knew. Anybody who is superior to the king can only be a saint or a sage or a knower of truth. He knew who Valmiki was. And Valmiki accepted her, telling her that I neither blame you nor your husband. Both of them are equally dear and near to me. Come along with me. I had abandoned my wife and children long back. But I am going to accept you as a daughter. I have got my householder disciples who will look after your pregnancy as well as maternity. Don't worry. He was still writing Ramayana. So the abandonment of Sita, her appearance near the hermitage of Valmiki, then Valmiki taking up looking after her, her care, from that moment onwards, Valmiki became part of the biography that he was writing. So far as Mahabharatam is concerned, it's a full autobiography of Vedavyasa himself. Because the Kuru dynasty, Chitrangada and Vichitravirya died childless, and then Satyavati, their mother, wanted Vedavyasa to impregnate the sisters-in-law. He initially resented, revolted. But finally, Satyavati said, I am the mother and you are the son. You are bound to hear my words, I am your teacher. He agreed, but stipulated a period of 1 year's austerity for them before he could fulfill her request. So the children are born of him. That is why I say it is an autobiography. Where was the Kuru dynasty? In India. Who were they? They were the rulers. Where was Dasharatha's Ayodhya and the Ikshvaku dynasty? That was again in India. So this is actually a history of the people here. The manner in which the history has been written, it is called in the epic style. It is to primarily inculcate, grow and nurture in the minds of the readers the values called dharma, artha, kama and moksha, the fourfold purushartha, the fourfold human objective as we call it. So it was a history on the one hand. At the same time, the purpose of the writing was to create a living and ceaseless history in the minds of the people, in the behavior, in the conduct, in the thoughts, words and deeds of the people. Ramayana is still creating the history of our land. Mahabharatam also creates the history of this land. So I would like you to understand that the cultural history of our country lies in Ramayana, in Mahabharata. If you go further backward, you will trace it in the 4 Vedas and the allied texts. We are a very great nation. Many of you do not know this. Now we are entering into a very delicate stage. Extremely trying on the one hand, challenging on the other, persuading on the other, creating a number of questions, enigmas, puzzles, consternations, conflicts and the like. It's very, very delicate. To be listening to Sreemad Bhagavatam, as I said earlier, is extremely fortunate. You should understand it. That is why I said I compliment all of you. Now, I am entering into a very, very delicate discussion, as I told you. We are going to describe the rasala in Sreemad Bhagavatam, the very delicate portion. Why is it delicate? Because it deals with the romance. Romance is something that is generally displayed and indulged in private, in privacy. A man and a woman meet themselves conjugally inside the room, unseen and unfelt by anybody. But here I am going to take you to the open rasala, enacted in the forests of Yamuna, Vrindavan. See the contrast. And Krishna is the fulcrumatic point here. In Bhagavad Gita and in Kurukshetra you will find the same Krishna played an unparalleled, crucial and significant role, remaining as the charioteer. Arjuna entrusted him the task of charioting his horses. While doing so, keeping the 5 reins in his hand and also the whip in the other, there came an occasion Arjuna had not contemplated at all. He had to chariot the mind of Arjuna. And standingly holding the reins and the whip, he did that also. It is the same Krishna in a much younger age is going to enact the Rasalila here. The autumn season arrived. The Sharatkala arrived. Suddenly, in Krishna's mind, the memory was very vivid. What was the memory? A set of girls in Vrindavan started performing Katyayani Vrata, going to the Kalindi river, entering the waters, having their bath, having a sand idol of Devi, worshipping it with flowers, garlands, burning incense, offering many things, etc. What was their purpose? Krishna should become the husband. Krishna responded to it. He agreed. And then he stole away their dress. And that episode I have already narrated. Finally, the girls, after having got the dress and wearing it, they refused to depart for their homes. So Krishna said, go now. I understand your wish and I agree to fulfill it. I have become your husband. You are my consorts. I agree. Now I will choose a day in the oncoming autumn season, Sharatkala, and I will give you a right signal. Come at that time, go. No wish can ever be unfulfilled. My dear souls, I am discussing the one concept of what? Dheyam sada paribhavagram abhishtadoham. They were innocent girls, absolutely guileless. And they had a genuine wish that Krishna should become their husband. What was wrong there? They were young, they were not married, and they resorted to a religious discipline and austerity for the purpose. So there is nothing wrong. Whether it was right or wrong, the question doesn't arise. They were unmarried and they wanted to marry. And they spotted Krishna. That kind of a marriage is quite acceptable in our system, in our culture. So Krishna agreed. And actually, the alliance had already taken place when he stole the dress. And finally, they came to him in the manner in which he wanted. He asked them to raise their hands and put the joined palms on the head, prostrate on the earth right before him. What more do you want? The most sacred alliance that you can think of. And then when the autumn season came, all this flashed in his memory. It was the bright half of the day and the full moon arrived. Right then he remembered, this is the time for me to call all of them. We have the best of light to see each other. Sufficient light. And we don't have to fear. Suppose we go on playing in our own manner for hours and hours of the day. Till the day breaks, there will be moonlight. Thereafter the sun will be there. So fearlessly, unreservedly we can go ahead. So he played his flute.